video, we've got an unboxing video, and this is the Zulisy Owl. Now, if you've been watching the channel, I just did a review on their Oak Plus Red Dot. I sent a copy of that video over to them. We've been talking back and forth on Instagram, and they decided that they wanted me to start doing some optic reviews for them. Now, one of the things they asked me to do, they asked if I had anything in the Viper Dr. footprint. All I have right now is the Canic, but this is what I've done. I've ordered an optic plate from Walther for my PDP Pro so we can start testing out Viper and Dr. footprint optics on it. And I'm going to also be talking with PSA. We're going to get a dagger slide with the same footprint, and we'll be able to use that either on my Strike 80 frame or we can use it on the Kiger 9C Pro frame. Alright, so you just pull the top off here, and there's your owner's manual. Nice color manual, just like that came with the Oak Plus. You've got your card here. Tells you about the windage and elevation. Got a lens cleaning cloth. For here, we've got a pack of screws. Looks like we've got 4 sets of screws here. Here in this compartment, we have got the little mini screwdriver. It is a flathead. We have our battery. We've got our Torx wrench. Here is our optic. It does come with a mount for 1913 round Picatinny mount. And then we've got another flathead screwdriver to adjust our windage and elevation, and our silica gel, and that is everything in the box. Before we get into the dot here, I'll show you the mount for your 1913 rail. Alright, there is our Zulisy Owl. There's the side of it. Here is the top. It does have a top load battery. There's the other side. There is the front, and there is the bottom. Now you can get this in a green dot also. This is the red dot version, and it is a 3 MOA dot, which is pretty much my favorite when it comes to pistol optics. The 3 MOA, it just kind of works for everything. It's good for distance and up close. Some competitive shooters that are shooting targets that are up close and like USPSA, things like that, they prefer a 4 to a 6 MOA dot. Distance shooters tend to like the 2 MOA, so the 3 MOA just kind of is the happy medium that falls right in between everything that you need. The dimensions on the Owl, the length on this is 1.89 inches. The width on this is 1.28 inches. And our height is 1.04 inches. The weight they have listed on this is 130 grams, and I just don't think it's that heavy. It could be a misprint. It does have a little bit of weight to it, but I'm not sure on that, and that's all the information I could get on it was 130 grams on the weight. Now the body on this, it is an aluminum body. But one other thing I could not find listed and no information on it is whether or not it is 6061 aluminum or 7075. Now looking at it, the weight of it, and the way it's built, I'm pretty much going to say it is 7075, but I don't have confirmation of that. Now it is IPX7 waterproof and shockproof. Now the lens on the Owl is a 24mm multi-coated lens, and it is parallax free. Now let's get into the good stuff. This does run on a 1632 battery, and on the lowest settings you will get 50,000 hours of battery life. This also has shake awake. The shake awake on this, once the optic's turned on, you set it down. It will take 4 minutes. It will shut off. You tap it or grab your firearm and the optic will come back on. I got to put a battery in this and then we'll check that to make sure that works. Now to install the battery, you're going to take a Torx wrench and you are just going to stick that right there and thread this off and that is how you'll change the battery. And due to YouTube policies, I'm not going to show you how to do that. But you get the point. Pretty easy. Alright, I got the battery installed, and as you can see, it is on. It is pretty bright. It's not the brightest dot I've seen, but it's plenty bright. You're not going to have any issues with that. Starbursting. It is starbursting a little bit here in the studio on this white background. It's not real bad. I noticed when I turn it down, it kind of pretty much goes away. So I think once we get it outside and we're shooting on targets, it's not going to be too bad. That's not the dot's fault. That's my problem because I do have astigmatism. Now, speaking of the dot, we do have 10 brightness levels on this, and 2 of those are night vision compatible settings, which is nice. The next thing I like to do when we do these unboxing videos is check our windage and elevation adjustments. Now on this one, they are not very tactile, and they're definitely not audible, but they are stiff, and I like that. I don't like it when they're too loose. Not that I've ever really had an issue with it, but for me, I prefer for these to be a little bit tighter when you're turning them, just so I don't have to worry about losing zero. So I think we're good on there. Now, speaking of the windage and elevation, it is 1 MOA per click, and you do have a range of 40 MOA on the windage and the elevation. Alright, I checked the shake awake on this, and it does work, so we're good there. And I want to talk about these buttons. I do so many optic reviews that they all kind of just start to run together after a while. But one thing that I really like about the buttons on this, they're flush. And I noticed when you go to press them, they are, if you can hear that click, they're pretty stiff. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because if you're going to carry this optic, and you're going to have it inside the waistband in a holster, you don't want to worry about hitting your buttons, and that is not going to be an issue with this. So I really like the way they manufactured these buttons into this optic. The other thing I want to talk about is when you want to shut this optic off, you've got your minus button here on this side. Just hold that button. Takes about 4 to 5 seconds and it turns off. Now remember, if you are going to use the shake awake, you want to turn it on. All you have to do is a quick click on the plus button, it's on, and then when you leave that sit after 4 minutes, it will go into shake awake. So when you want to use the shake awake, or you're going to be using this for carry, make sure it's always on, because the shake awake obviously is not going to work if you manually turn the dot off. Now I want to get into this body and the frame around this window. It's nice, thick protection right around that glass. And one thing that I've really liked the last few dots that I've done reviews on, they're really starting to put the glass back pretty deep into that frame. And there's multiple reasons why that's a good thing. One, you don't want your glass protruding off the front where it's going to get broke. So this one is sitting back in there really deep. That's not going to be an issue. The other thing is, if you rack your slide and you grab your optic, you're not going to have to worry about getting your fingers back in there and smudging up the glass. This is a really nice design. Alright, I'm going to take this down to the reload room, get it mounted up on the gun, and I'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. Alright, got the Owl mounted on the Walther PDP Pro. Turned out really good. Definitely need to get suppressor height sights for this. I like the way it looks. This is a pretty clean dot too. Very little starbursting looking through it now. Can't wait to get this out to the range in the next video. Now, as far as a plate goes, I did not use a plate from Walther. I'm not real happy with those plates. They're pretty flimsy. I actually got a plate from C&H Precision, and I'm actually going to put out a short video about this plate, and I'll put that video out right after the review video on the Zulisy Owl. So if you're interested in a C&H precision plate with the Dr. footprint, I'll have a separate video for that. Well, there it is. I'm super happy with how it turned out. We'll get it out to the range in the next video for the review. I think we're going to have a decent dot here. And I know that C&H plate's going to be just fine. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.